More than a decade in the making, the ultimate confrontation has finally become a reality. Hulk Hogan has arrived in World Championship Wrestling, and its cornerstone, the current World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair, awaits. Finally, the number one question on the minds of the entire wrestling world would be answered. United States Champion Steve Austin harbored resentment towards Ricky Steamboat, believing he was rightfully the number one contender to the world title, despite Steamboat receiving a title shot instead of him. Steamboat, already having won every major title, looks to win the U.S. Championship for the fourth time on this night. The combination of Paul Orndorff and Paul Roma, Pretty Wonderful, worked their way up the ranks to earn a World Tag Team Championship match with the current title holders, Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan, while Dustin Rhodes continues his war with Colonel Robert Parker's stable in tag team competition alongside Arn Anderson. Johnny B. Bad, who has been a top contender for Steven Regal's television title, gets one more shot, and Big Van Vader sets his sights on destroying the Guardian Angel once and for all. The first match of Bash at the Beach '94 was promoted to be a match for the television championship between Sting and current title holder, Lord Steven Regal. Sting had been attacked by Sensuous Sherry and suffered an injury to his eye, leaving Johnny B. Bad as his replacement. They struggle and exchange arm holds along with some athletic reversals. Bad continually counters Regal's holds and goes back to working on the arm until Regal takes a moment to regroup. Regal employs forearms, headbutts, and even a dropkick, but he receives more of the same in return. Bad also catches him off guard with a flying head scissors, a hip toss, and a backdrop before landing the kiss that doesn't miss. However, Regal rolls outside of the ring. Bad does not allow him to recuperate. He performs a slingshot crossbody to the outside and a slingshot sunset flip back inside, but Regal seizes Williams' umbrella to block it. The referee notices this and kicks the umbrella away, but Regal clumsily reverses the pin and secures the victory with a handful of tights. Bad spots Sir William on the apron and uses a slingshot to send him into the ring. He then delivers a backdrop and takes his hat. Between matches, the legendary Antonio Inoki is honored by WCW in a ceremony, but is interrupted by Regal, who wonders where his accolades are. Regal threatens Inoki, but he doesn't back down, and Regal retreats. The feud between the Guardian Angel, formerly the Boss, who's been stripped of his nightstick and handcuffs by Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel, and Big Van Vader rages on in the next contest. Vader employs headbutts and a surprising spinning kick, but Angel counters with a back suplex and takes off Vader's mask. He also slams Vader after holding him aloft for a few seconds. After that, they fight onto the floor, and Angel pursues Harley once more. Vader seizes the opportunity to deliver an avalanche attack before going back into the ring to execute another one. Vader then surprises me again by trying a sunset flip from the second rope, but Angel drops down onto him. Following that, Vader takes Angel down onto the mat with several holds before landing a Vader bomb and a moonsault. He injures himself during the move, prompting Race to try to buy him some time. Race ascends to the top rope, and Angel slams Harley. He then clotheslines Vader out of the ring and suplexes him back inside, but during the scuffle, the ref gets knocked down. Vader takes advantage of the situation to snatch Angel's baton, but Angel prevents him from doing so and takes it away. Sadly, the ref regains consciousness and spots the baton in Angel's grasp. He presumes Angel used it and calls for the bell, giving Vader the win by disqualification. Dustin Rhodes has been at odds with Colonel Parker's stable, Bunkhouse Bunk in particular, for months and was attacked by Terry Funk at Slamboree. Dustin recruited Arn Anderson of all people to be his partner in the next match. If past history is any indicator of future outcomes, animosity between the Rhodes and Funk families endures, and trusting in Anderson can be hazardous. Arn requests to begin the match, but he finds himself at an impasse with Buck. Bunkhouse then insists on getting Dustin and successfully acquires him. Rhodes takes charge for a while and even sends both men flying over the ropes while the referee is sidetracked. Unfortunately, Rhodes falls out of the ring after a missed crossbody, and Funk and Buck seize control. They double-team Dustin and target his back and neck. Funk manages to daze himself a couple of times and comically wobbles around. Eventually, Dustin retaliates with punches and elbows before sending Funk and Buck crashing into one another. Rhodes ultimately tags in Anderson. Arn steps into the ring, energizes himself, and delivers a DDT to Dustin. Then, Arn positions Funk on top of Dustin for the victory. After the match, Funk and Buck restrain Dustin while Arn delivers knees onto Dustin's arm. Referee Nick Patrick attempts to stop Parker from participating in the assault, but he does not intervene to halt anyone else. Additional officials eventually show up to put an end to the assault. Steve Austin defends the United States Championship against the legendary Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in the next contest. Austin comes into the match as champion for the first time without the services of Colonel Robert Parker, who has his hands full with the stud stable. The bell sounds, and Steamboat inadvertently turns away. Austin strikes, and they exchange chops. Austin then tries to apply a figure four, but Ricky pushes him into the post. He unexpectedly follows this with a move as the two fighters exchange punches. Next, Steamboat delivers a dropkick that leaves Austin ensnared in the ropes, after which Ricky concentrates on Austin's arm. Following this, they execute a series of leapfrogs, but Austin pretends to hurt his knee in order to trick Steamboat into going outside the ring. They engage in a brawl before returning to the ring, where Ricky resumes targeting Steve's arm. Austin repeatedly regains the upper hand with a low blow, an apron suplex, and a spinebuster. He also attacks Steamboat's neck and ridicules his karate stances. Ricky counters by challenging Steve to bring it on. He traps Austin in several pinning attempts, and they reverse through a tombstone multiple times until Ricky successfully executes it. Austin becomes anxious and attempts to get himself disqualified, but Steamboat pleads with the referee not to allow it. Steamboat then launches into a crossbody, but Austin counters and secures the pin with his feet resting on the ropes and retains the title. Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan put the World Tag Team Championships on the line versus Pretty Wonderful, Paul Orndorff and Paul Roma. Pretty Wonderful spends a significant amount of time delaying and posing after catching Sullivan in some arm drags. Cactus and Sullivan respond with biting and some unexpected teamwork. Pretty Wonderful needs to regroup, but all four wrestlers end up in a brawl. Orndorff moves as Cactus attempts a cactus elbow, but Cactus and Sullivan keep double-teaming him. He unexpectedly works on the arm instead of engaging in his customary brawling, and Sullivan delivers a double stomp to Orndorff. Then, Pretty Wonderful takes control. They execute a pile driver on Sullivan, but Dave places Kevin's foot on the ropes. Roma maintains the assault, but he makes casual covers. Ultimately, Roma fails to connect with a flying splash and Cactus tags in. The match turns into a brawl, and Cactus hits a double-arm DDT, but the referee is distracted. Roma trips him and then holds down his feet while Orndorff covers for the victory. And the main event of Bash at the Beach, Ric Flair defends the World Heavyweight Championship against Hulk Hogan in a much-anticipated showdown. Flair is escorted to the ring by Sensuous Sherry, while Hogan is flanked by Mr. T, Shaquille O'Neal, and Jimmy Hart. Hogan pushes Flair around before both wrestlers duck under one another and showcase their swagger. They then exchange some mat holds, uncharacteristic for Hogan. Flair ultimately steps out for a break and hides behind Sherry on a few occasions. He uses this strategy to draw Hogan into the ring and then strikes him. Hogan retaliates by biting and delivering punches to Flair in the corner until Sherry trips him. Flair gains the upper hand with a lengthy chinlock, but Hogan bounces back and sends Rick into the corner for a flip. Next, Hogan executes a back suplex on the floor and performs a suplex from the apron, but he fails to connect with the leg drop. Nevertheless, Hogan counters several figure four attempts and no-sells a suplex. He follows up with the big boot, but Sherry yanks the referee to the floor. Nick Patrick comes in to officiate as Flair locks Hogan in a figure four. He manages to grab the ropes, but Sherry applies a choke while Rick distracts Patrick. Mr. T intervenes by seizing Sherry and pulling her away from the ring. He remains unaware that Sherry left behind brass knuckles, which Flair uses, but Hogan powers up and delivers the big boot and leg drop for the victory, making him the new WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Hogan celebrates in the ring with his entourage as despondent Bobby Heenan weeps on commentary. Johnny B. Bad would again receive a shot at Lord Steven Regal's TV title at the next pay-per-view event, Fall Brawl, where he defeated Regal for the belt. Steamboat defeated Steve Austin for his fourth United States Championship at the Clash of the Champions 28. However, he'd not only be forced to vacate the title due to injury but forced into retirement, as well. Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan's relationship soured after losing the tag titles. Cactus blamed Sullivan for losing, among various other reasons, and attacked him, leading to a loser leaves town match at Fall Brawl. As with tradition in the Rhodes family, trusting in Anderson always has a disastrous outcome. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes recruits the Nasty Boys to face Anderson and Colonel Parker's stud stable in a War Games match at Fall Brawl, where Vader would go on to face Sting and the Guardian Angel in a triangle elimination match to determine a #1 contender for the WCW World title. But first, the next chapter in the Hogan Flair saga has to unfold.